Hi! I was on the internet looking at inappropriate pictures, and then I thought to myself, I should post more often on YouTube. Then it hit me. Why don't I post more about movies and help inform people in the process? So this is the result of that. Welcome to What's in Theaters This Week, the show where we will look at different movie posters for movies coming out this week and determine their plot based solely on the movie poster. This week we have Murder on the Orient Express. Well, it's obviously about the Orient Express, which used to run between Paris and Istanbul. I think. I don't think it still exists. I think after World War I or something like that, they stopped running it. But it's obviously based on that. And also, I think the red smoke is very telling. And the fact that there's a star-studded cast, you have their names all over the smoke, that's obviously the director or the poster designer trying to let us know what the film was about. So taking all that into account, the smoke, the star names, the fact that it's on a train, this is what I think this movie's about. Is about a train conductor that kills celebrities and then throws them into the furnace of the train to help power this 19th century train. So let's look up what the plot actually is. I'm fairly confident I'm pretty close. So the plot for Murder on the Orient Express, as told by MoviePhone, a lavish trip through Europe quickly unfolds into a race against time to solve a murder aboard a train. When an avalanche stops the Orient Express dead in its tracks, the world's greatest detective, Hercule Poirot, arrives to interrogate all passengers and search for clues before the killer can strike again. You see? That's what it's about. So the train was running. Obviously, the conductor killed that first celebrity, threw them in the furnace, and the train keeps going. The avalanche is a red herring. The conductor hasn't killed enough celebrities to keep the train going. So I'm close. That's pretty much a win. So 1 point for me. The next film out this week is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, from the director of In Bruges and 7 Psychopaths. Knowing who directed this kind of gives it away. We know it's going to be a really crazy film with a sad, melancholy ending at the end. So, I mean, that's essentially the plot. But let's look a little bit closer. Let's see if we can get a little bit more specific. So as you can see, the poster has 3 billboards, which makes sense, and a cop car. Also, if you can see, there are heavy clouds and a fading sun. Now that's very telling. The billboards have a lot of details on them that give us a lot of descriptions as well. So keep looking at those billboards. They're kind of run down. The cop is in the middle almost, and I'm sure the cop is wondering what went on here, or what's up with these billboards. So taking all that into account, here's what I think the plot of this film is. In the town of Ebbing, Missouri, these 3 billboards pop up out of nowhere. No one knows who put up the billboards, yet each day they contain a different message. Each message is a deep, dark secret from one of the town's residents. The residents start to really distrust and eventually hate each other because they realize that some of these secrets are true and they kind of piece together who these secrets are about. Eventually it leads to a bloodbath in the town. The final scenes are actually given away in the poster because it ends with kind of a cop driving through the town. As the cop drives through the town, he sees like the wreckage and the carnage, the corpses and all that. It's horrible. It's really graphic. And then finally towards the end, he reaches the 3 billboards. And it's finally revealed that the billboards themselves are old. They haven't been updated in decades. And the town itself had just gone mad. So now let's read what this movie is actually about. After months have passed without a culprit in her daughter's murder case, Mildred Hayes makes a bold move, painting 3 signs leading into her town with a controversial message directed at William Willoughby, the town's revered chief of police. When his second-in-command, Officer Dixon, an immature mother's boy with a penchant for violence, gets involved, the battle is only exasperated. Too many big words in that plot. So I was kind of close. She did write something controversial on there. I still think that's a red herring. I still think what's going to end up happening is she never actually wrote anything there. And this is what kind of kicks off that whole thing of everyone killing themselves in the town. So the final film coming out this week is called Mayhem, and the poster itself is this Asian dude who I assume is, Stephen Ewan, He's on there. So there's two posters that pop up, but they're both very similar. One is just him. He's covered in blood, bloody white shirt, bloody hands. And the other one, it's him just standing there. And there's the blonde chick, Samara Weaving. And she's holding, I guess that's a machine gun pointed at you, the viewer. So, and it's called Mayhem. Does it have a rating? I assume it's rated R based on the cover. So I'm going to go based... both of the posters are fine, but I'm going to go based on the one where it's just the Asian dude covered in blood, because that one gives us most of the descriptions. Based on these two posters, Mayhem is a movie about a party that gets really out of control. And eventually it's like, people are having a lot of fun and stuff like that, and this crazy mosh pit happens, and then everyone kind of like starts fighting and stuff like that, and it just gets really crazy, really out of hand. And the woman in the movie is kind of like the instigator of the party, but she has an ulterior motive. Like, she needed to make this party because she's actually like this kind of thief, and she was trying to break into a neighboring house and steal something very valuable. I'm not sure what it is. I will say the poster people did a really good job of not giving that away. But she's clearly out there to steal something. This Asian dude, he was just, going to throw a regular party, and it gets nuts. And the reason it's a crazy party is because he's really trying to mimic the Andrew WK look, and I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to have a great soundtrack. I assume it's going to have Andrew WK songs. It might also have some other crazy party songs in there. So if you're in the mood for kind of a party film, I would recommend Mayhem. I think that's going to be the go-to party film for the winter. So let's see what this movie's actually about. I'm pretty close. Like, I don't understand why it wouldn't be about that. Let's see. And to be fair, this is actually the first time I've heard of Mayhem. I've heard of the other two. I haven't seen the trailers, but I've seen them advertised. So Mayhem. Derek Cho is having a really bad day. After being unjustly fired from his job, he discovers that the law firm's building is under quarantine for a mysterious and dangerous virus. Chaos erupts throughout the office as the victims of the disease begin acting out their wildest impulses. Joining forces with a former client who has a grudge of her own, Derek savagely fights tooth and nail to get to the executives on the top floor and settle the score once and for all. Okay, so I was kind of close. It's people are acting out their wildest impulses. That's essentially what a party is. So it's kind of what I said, and it's also kind of like The Raid. So they mix a party movie with The Raid. So if you haven't seen The Raid, it's a classic film. You need to see that. So Mayhem actually sounds really good. Joe Lynch is the director. It's categorized as an action horror. So that might actually be a lot of fun. I like the party vibe. I like the beating people up vibe. It's a great combo, and I'm really looking forward to that Andrew WK soundtrack. So let's see how you did. If you did really well, add up your points based on those three posters. There's only 3 major releases this weekend. Your prize for correctly guessing the plot of all 3 movies purely based on the poster itself is a chance to be Lou Bega's number 5. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next week.